So on today's episode, we are going to talk about Raila's next move. Of course, as you all know, he has already lost his AUC chairmanship, which was sponsored by the Kenyan President Ruto. So we're going to talk about what next for Raila Odinga. So if you're new here, welcome to the Uncut with X. Here we mostly give out political opinions in the most honest way. At times I call it raw, uncensored, unapologetic opinion about political matters. So today we're going to talk about Raila's next move, and I'd like to start with this video of Raila Odinga while he was in his Nyanza tour, giving this speech, telling people that he's about to make the decision. So let's check it out.
Sasa tumesema siku ya leo tukisherekea baba amerudi, na nimesema nitakuja kuuliza watu wangu wote kwanza mwelekeo, tujue mwelekeo. Sio sisi si watu wa kufuata watu hovyo hovyo, tunafuata watu na sababu. Chama cha ODM ni chama ambayo iko na sera kamili na msimamo.
Okay, so what Raila is trying to say is that he has decided, this is after his AUC chairmanship bid, so he has decided that he's going to listen to the people and make a decision after that. And this is what I think Raila is trying to do, because in my opinion, I think Raila Odinga has already made a decision to support Ruto, but he knows that this decision will be so unpopular. Even in his own regions, this will be so unpopular. So he wants to do this political play where he says he's going to talk to the people and then give feedback, so that when he announces to say that he's supporting Ruto, he will say that this is what I've done. I mean, I've gone to Nyanza, I've gone to Western, I've been in the coastal region, and all these regions have told me to give my support to Ruto. So that's what Raila is trying to do, because he already knows that announcing his support for Ruto will be so controversial, because he's going to do that announcement probably next week by the time we're shooting this. And he knows that this announcement will be so unpopular. And the only thing that maybe in his political play will save him is the fact that he'll say that I went to these regions and the people of these regions have told me that they want us to support Ruto. I mean, that is what I think, in my opinion. The other way how this might go is if Raila decides to vie for an election, which is highly unlikely according to me. But I think this is one of his best shots to run for presidency, because already Ruto has lost his Mount Kenya backing. Ruto is a man who is looking for a place, is looking for a region to back him up, and he's solely dependent on Raila's region. So if Raila decides to shift, if Raila decides by next week when he makes his announcement that he's shifting to support the other faction of Kalonzo, Madhakaru and the rest, he would have already weakened Ruto. But I think that is highly unlikely. If Raila was going to do that, then after the AUC chairmanship loss, that would have been the best opportune time to just come out and say we are no longer going to side with Ruto. But the fact that he has decided to just hold and say that he's going to first speak to the people and then give an announcement, this shows only one thing. According to me, he thinks that this is going to be unpopular and it's going to save him. Because let's take a look at ODM before I play this next video. Already in ODM, there are two factions. So there's one faction of the likes of Junet, who and Kaluma, the MP Kaluma, who will loyally follow Raila to literally the grave. And there's another faction of ODM that doesn't want to be part of government. That is probably Sifuna, Secretary General. There's Peter Salasia. There's guys like Simba Arati. There's guys like Babu Owino, who might not want to join this new faction that is going to government. And this is because this new faction of ODM, that is an ODM UDA wing, is going to kill their political careers. Let's take an example of a person like Babu Owino. So if Babu Owino decides to join the new faction of ODM that is pro-government, how then will he vie as governor of Nairobi? Because we know Raila has already said that he's giving Governor Johnson Sakaja the bid for 2027 to run under the ODM umbrella. So that's just going to favor Babu. That's just going not to favor Babu Owino. And same with guys like Simba Arati. If they support governments and the regions that they come from are not pro-government, that is going to kill them in the long run in terms of their political careers. Look at a guy like Edwin Sifuna, and I'm going to play his video next. Edwin Sifuna is senator of Nairobi, and one thing I know about Nairobi is in 2027, Nairobi won't vote for the faction that Raila supports, because these urban centers will vote differently. The Nairobis, the Nakurus, the Mombasas, these urban centers will vote differently, and they'll probably vote for a person based on ideology. These regions used to belong to Raila, the Nairobis, the Mombasas, the huge cities at least. But come 2027, I believe these regions won't vote for him, because he has shown them that he's a betrayer multiple times. If you have not read Raila's playbook, in 2017 he did the same thing. He repeated it in 2022, and he repeated it after the Gen Z protest. And I think people won't forgive him for that, especially the people who reside in the urban centers. So you have a person like Sifuna, who probably wants to vie again as senator of Nairobi, and his position is threatened if he joins the ODM part, if he continues being part of ODM after it has aligned with the UDA, because that's what I think is going to happen. So let me play a clip of Sifuna.
Sasa nikisimama Nairobi kwenye bunge la Senate, pahali wananchi walinituma niseme kwamba Kenya yetu mambo inaenda vibaya, nasema ukweli ama nasema uongo? Nasema ukweli ama uongo? Watu wa Bungoma, nitarudia swali ambayo Caleb ameuliza. Mnataka tuendelee kuishi jinsi ambavyo tunaendelea? Mnataka mabadiliko ama mnataka tuendelee na njia hiyo? Wale wanasema lazima kitu kifanyike tofauti 2027. Tuinue mikono tutuone. Mimi nataka niwahakikishie, kwa sababu mnanijua, nimezaliwa hapa kwetu, mumenilea, nikianza siasa zangu mnanijua. Nataka niwahakikishie sitabadilika. Kama jambo ni mbaya tuseme ni mbaya, kama ni mzuri tuseme ni mzuri, lakini huwezi kunilazimisha nione uzuri wakati ambapo wanaishi wanalalamika kila siku. Haitawezekana. Hata kama tutakufa kwa kusimama ukweli, lazima tuseme 2027 Ruto must, Ruto must. Kwa hayo mengi, nataka niwahakikishie nitafikisha ujumbe wa Bungoma kwa baba Raila Amolo Odinga. Tunaenda kuwa na yeye leo jioni, na kesho tutakuwa pale Busia, tutawaambia kauli ya Bungoma ni kwa.
So clearly from this video, you'd tell that Sifuna's position is that he's not going to vote for Ruto. So what happens to guys like Sifuna, Babu Owinos, the Simba Aratis, but I'm not sure about Simba though, but what happens to them after Raila joins with Ruto? This means that already his faction will break. He'll not come strongly as he thinks to Ruto's side or Ruto's camp. He will be coming with less generals. Guys like Sifuna will probably deflect from ODM after this, because how are we going to expect Sifuna to behave as the guy that we all know him for? Because people in Nairobi like Sifuna because he speaks the truth about these issues that affect us. I mean, you've seen this video. He's speaking about SHA. He's speaking about the injustices that happens to Kenyans, and he's saying that he's not ready to stop doing that, and that is what is making Sifuna relevant in Nairobi. The fact that he's super vocal about these issues, and guys like him will lose a lot if they decide to join the to join UDA, to jump sides and join UDA. They're going to lose a lot in terms of their political career, because someone else will come and contest them that is not pro-government and will win their position. So joining Ruto's camp only favors Raila Odinga. It doesn't favor ODM as a whole. Most people in ODM will probably suffer more if Raila Odinga decides to join with the UDA. Most of them are going to suffer. And this is going to cost them a lot of positions in parliament, because already in the mountain region where most member of parliaments from UDA come from, most of them won't vie with the UDA party. And if Raila Odinga does the mistake of shifting sides to join UDA or Kenya Kwanza rather, they will lose a lot of positions too in parliament, because a lot of people are anti-government. Kenyans call themselves the opposition, because we don't have a strong opposition government. So most people won't vote for the people who are in government. So in the moment ODM places itself as a party that is in government officially, because currently there's a faction that is in government, there's a faction that's not in government. But if that happens officially, that is going to be super risky for the ODM party. Let's check out another video of Peter Salasia. He was reacting to the speech of Raila Odinga. So let's check it out.
Wewe sasa tunataka kuanalyze hii maneno ya huyu mzee anatuambia hapa.
Sasa tumesema siku ya leo tukisherehekea. Baba amerudi na nimesema nitakuja kuuliza watu wangu wote.
Amerudi kufanya nini? Wewe wakati ulikuwa unaenda kusimama kura ya huko AUC uliuliza watu na hiyo msiembe umebeba hiyo.
Unafuata watu wana sababu.
Haufuati mtu mwenye uko na sababu, kwa sababu wewe hakuna sera ambayo uko nayo, na kuuliza Raila hakuna sera ambayo uko nayo. Hakuna kitu unatetea wewe. Sasa nakwambia hakuna kitu unasema. Hakuna mtu umetetea. Wakati watu wanauliwa hapa leo, wewe ulikuwa unaenda hapo kufanya nini?
Ya chungwa.
Hakuna chungwa hapo, chungwa imeoza. Hakuna.
So if there's someone who shifted so early, one of the first MPs who shifted from ODM is Peter Salasia. He's one of the first MPs who shifted from that ODM party, because he knew that that party doesn't make sense, and it's going to also cost him as an individual, as an MP. So most MPs who are smart with their political careers, they're going to start leaving ODM. Forget about the Nyanza MPs. I'm talking about these other MPs from these other sides of the country, because we all know that the reason why Raila is significant, it's because the Nyanza region has decided to be sycophants to Raila Odinga. And that's why he's relevant, because he literally betrayed a movement that was going to change Kenya, in my opinion. And if people are still siding in his camp, that is sycophancy. There's no other word to call it, because this guy has betrayed them over and over again, but the people still fall for it. We can even call it the Stockholm syndrome. This guy has multiply betrayed his people, but they're still flocking to his side. So the Nyanza MPs don't have a problem with Raila shifting to any faction, because they know they'll just play the usual tribal politics and they'll win. Because in the Nyanza region, if Raila endorses you, you're already president. But what about the MPs in other regions? It's still going to be an issue for them. And that's why I think it's more sensible for guys like Salasia not to be part of Raila's camp, because they are going to lose a lot politically. And also the fact that Raila Odinga is going to the government side, the side where people feel like they have been oppressed by this government. This government hasn't done anything that is working. The SHA is not working. The housing levy that they were deducting on people's salaries, they are not constructing any houses. So people feel frustrated with this government. The economy isn't doing well. And if UDA goes, if ODM joins government or Kenya Kwanza, Raila is the only person who is going to benefit from this shift that might happen. Most people won't benefit. There's somewhere I read, let me just pull it up. It was Money Market Academies. He's saying that ODM is renegotiating with Kenya Kwanza to get about 50% of positions in government, including permanent secretary positions. And this is a new negotiation that they are trying to pull on Ruto in order for them to show support for Ruto. Because remember, Ruto is fully dependent on Raila Amolo Odinga for this election. If there's someone that is holding, if there's someone who is going to decide whether Ruto will be president or not, it is Raila Amolo Odinga. And I'm sure that he's going to use this to gain as much as possible. There are people who are saying that Raila might vie for presidency. Yes, he might, because, in politics, anything can happen. And what I do is just give opinions. And opinions are not analysis. They are more of speculation. So I think it's highly unlikely that Raila Amolo Odinga will vie for presidency, because he benefits from losing elections. And this time, he doesn't even have to vie. He's going to get everything that he always wanted just by being a political broker. So I think that shift is going to happen. To close it up, that shift is going to happen. I think Raila Amolo Odinga is going to align with Ruto. There's nothing that is going to change. I think it was part of their plan from the beginning. If I lose this AUC chairmanship position, what else can you give to me? Whether be it positions in government, whether be it money. But I think Raila Amolo Odinga will still side with Ruto eventually. Even as he pretends to be going to the people to seek their voice, I still think he's going to side with William Ruto, and it's going to cost the people who are in ODM, not him. He's going to benefit, because if he gets this PS and cabinet secretaries positions, these positions will in turn benefit him. If he gets monetary award, it's going to benefit him. But what happens to the people in ODM? They're the people who are going to suffer from this entire shift that might happen. So I think I'll close there. This is still a speculation. It's more of a progressing story. Next week, we might know where he stands, and we'll get to know where he stands by next week. Before I finish up, there's this new party that Martha Karua launched. So, of course, there's a faction that is coming up together. The faction of all these politicians who are outside government, and they're forming a faction. So let's see how that progresses as well, because everyone who is forming their party is saying that they're willing to let the other person lead them. So Martha Karua said that she's willing to allow someone else who will be more influential to lead. It might be Matiang'i, it might be Kalonzo, it might be any other person who they think will be influential. So all of them have declared that they're going to set their differences aside and join together. So this faction might be the sort of the biggest thing in Kenya, because they might get a lot of MPs from this faction that they are forming, even if they don't get lucky enough to get the presidency seat, because you know how our politics is with the Chebukati and the hacking and whatever, the server issues. You know how our politics is when it comes to elections. So even if they don't get the presidency seat, this faction that is forming up and that is coming up, the Gachagua faction, the Madhakarua faction, the Eugene Wamalwa, Kalonzo faction, they might win majority in these two major houses, that is the Parliament, National Assembly and the Senate. So I'll close up to there. Make sure you like, subscribe, share this video to a friend, and comment. Let me hear your opinion. Where do you think Raila is going? What do you think Raila is going to do after his consultations with the people? So peace.